I've had the most uncomfortable flight this past summer. I was heading to VidCon in California, and I was stuck sitting beside this girl who had terrible, terrible body odor. And I'm not saying this to be mean or anything, I mean, giving her the benefit of the doubt. Maybe she had a condition, maybe her parents forgot to pay the hydro bills, maybe someone put a prank on her and mixed her lotion with vomit that morning. Regardless, I was uncomfortable that flight. So it was her, me, and my friend Dennis. And I jinxed it too. I was like, if no one sits here, I'ma move over so we have more leg room. And then bam, Oscar arrives. And her dad sat like a few rows away. So either they really procrastinated on booking their flight, or he knows what's up. The flight lasted 3 hours, and you think after being exposed for that long, my nose would have adapted, but no, the stench remained as strong as ever. I had no choice but to try to sleep, but that proved to be a more difficult task than simply trying to ignore the smell. I eventually did, but only to find myself awake 30 minutes later from the tears on my nostrils. What made it worse was that Dennis and I were both wearing V-necks, so we couldn't subtly cover our noses without making it obvious and attacking her self-esteem. I mean, she should be vaguely aware of herself, right? Either way, we tolerated it and eventually landed in Dallas, Texas for a layover, and we're back in flight waiting the hour. What's more, Dennis and I were on a 3-seat row, and me, being the brilliant comedian, jinxed it again and said, "Haha, what are the chances that we'd be sitting next to her again?" And according to the rules of irony, that meant bad news for me. Bam! What up, bitches? Except she didn't sit beside us this time. Instead, we got this guy who sat directly behind the girl. Unfortunately, her radius of impact was much wider than we expected, and we still fell within the blast zone for another 3 hours. Again, her dad didn't sit beside her and was a few rows away. He knows. I felt bad for the dude beside us because we knew what to expect, because we've already had a taste, or rather a smell, of what was in the store for us. I saw him attempting to do the same thing I did and try going to sleep. Keyword, tried. The worst part of all this was that we couldn't even complain about it to anyone. There wasn't one we could blame or plead a compensation from. "Excuse me, ma'am, I apologize, but we've been asked to move you due to your unbearable stench." Nah, we couldn't do that. Yep, I know that feel, bro.